There is a specific kind of guilt that ruins the holidays. It isn't the guilt of eating too much pie. It isn't the guilt of spending too much money on gifts. It is the guilt of the performance. You know the scene. You walk into your family home, or you pick up the phone to call a parent or a sibling, and you feel nothing. You don't feel a warm, fuzzy glow. You don't feel a surge of love. You feel a mild, low-grade tension. You feel a sense of obligation. You feel like an actor who has been cast in a long-running sitcom that stopped being funny 5 seasons ago, but you can't quit because you signed a lifetime contract. You look at these people, people who share your last name, people who share your nose or your chin, and you think, if I met you at a party, I would not talk to you. If we weren't related, I wouldn't know you. And then the shame hits, because society tells you that family is everything. Society tells you that blood is thicker than water, that you must love them, that if you don't feel a deep primal connection to your biological tribe, there is something fundamentally broken inside of your heart. You wonder, am I a cold person? Am I a sociopath? Why does everyone else seem to have these warm, Hallmark movie feelings, and I just feel like I'm waiting for the Uber to arrive? If this is you, if you love your family in theory, but struggle to like them in practice, if you feel like an undercover agent in your own lineage, I need you to take a deep breath and let it out. You are not a monster. You are not broken. You are experiencing family detachment. And it is actually a very logical, very protective, and very human response to a specific set of circumstances. Today, we are going to explore the psychology of why you don't feel attached. We are going to look at the genetic lottery, the empty well, and the value clash. And we are going to finally give you permission to stop feeling guilty for something you cannot control. The genetic lottery, the randomness of it all. Let's start with the humor of the situation, because it is kind of funny in a dark way. We treat family like a sacred bond, but biologically, it is a lottery. You didn't choose these people. They didn't choose you. You were thrown together by biology and geography and told, okay, now love each other forever. Imagine if you were put in an elevator with 4 random strangers and told, these are your best friends now. You have to spend every Christmas with them until you die. You would panic, but that is essentially what a family is. Sometimes the lottery works. Sometimes you get people who vibrate on your frequency, but often you get people who are fundamentally, chemically different from you. You might be a sensitive, artistic soul born into a family of pragmatic, loud sports fans. You might be a quiet introvert born into a chaotic extroverts who think reading is a sign of depression. This is not trauma, this is just a mismatch. It is a value clash. When you don't feel attachment, sometimes it is simply because you don't speak the same language. You are a cat raised by dogs. They aren't bad dogs, they are just barking, and you're trying to purr, and nobody understands why the other one is acting so weird. The lack of attachment isn't hatred, it's just a lack of resonance. And you cannot force resonance. You cannot negotiate chemistry, even with DNA. The empty well, the wound of neglect. But sometimes it is deeper than just a mismatch. Sometimes the detachment is a scar. To feel attached to someone, you need to feel seen. Attachment is built on a foundation of emotional safety. It is the feeling that when I cry, you come. When I speak, you listen. When I am me, you delight in it. If you grew up in a home where you are fed, clothed, and housed, but not seen, you likely developed what psychologists call avoidant attachment. Maybe your parents were roommate parents. They kept the house clean, they drove you to soccer, but they didn't ask how you felt. They didn't know your inner world. Or maybe they were narcissistic. They only saw you as an extension of themselves.
You were a prop in their play. When a child reaches out for connection and grabs nothing but air over and over again, they eventually stop reaching. They learn a hard lesson. There is nothing there for me. So you flipped a switch. You turned off the longing. You went numb. You learned to be self-sufficient. Now, as an adult, you look at your parents and you feel blank. That blankness is not nothing. That blankness is a callus. It is a protective layer of thick skin that grew over a wound you got tired of tending to. You don't feel attachment because there was nothing to attach to. You cannot anchor a ship in a cloud. The toll booth dynamic. This leads to the third reason, which is perhaps the most exhausting one: the transactional cost. For many people, interacting with family doesn't feel like a refueling station. It feels like a toll booth. Every time you talk to them, it costs you something. It costs you your peace. It costs you your energy. It costs you your self-esteem.
Maybe every conversation is a subtle critique. Oh, you're wearing that? Are you still dating him? Why don't you have a real job yet? Or maybe they are the crisis vampires. Every call is an emergency. Every visit is a drama. They use you as a therapist, a bank, or a dumping ground for their anxiety. Your brain is smart. Your brain is designed to avoid pain. If you put your hand on a stove and it burns, you stop touching the stove. If you talk to your family and it burns, you stop emotionally touching your family. You might still physically show up, you might sit at the Thanksgiving table, but your soul has left the building. You have disassociated. You are gray rocking, making yourself as boring and uninteresting as possible so they can't get a hook into you. This isn't coldness. This is energy conservation. You don't feel attachment because your nervous system has identified them as a predator or a drain, and it has put up a blast shield to keep you safe. The myth of shared history. People love to say, but you have so much shared history, as if history alone is enough to sustain a relationship. But let's be honest,
Sometimes shared history is just a fancy word for we lived in the same house while I survived you. Just because you have a past with someone does not mean you are obligated to have a future with them. Trauma bonds are not love stories. Shared DNA is a biological fact, not a binding legal contract for your soul. The guilt trap and how to escape it. So, why does it hurt so much? Why do we feel so guilty? Because the culture gaslights us. We see the commercials, we hear the songs, "I'll be home for Christmas," and we think, I want that. I want the warm house. I want the laughing table. Why can't I have that? You are grieving. You aren't grieving the family you have. You are grieving the fantasy. And the guilt? The guilt is just fear in a tuxedo. It is the fear that you are bad, the fear that you are ungrateful. But here is the permission slip you have been waiting for. You are allowed to curate your life. You are allowed to love people from a distance. You can wish them well, you can hope they are happy, and you can also choose not to answer the phone. You can love them and not like them. You can be grateful for the life they gave you and realize they are not the people you want to spend that life with. The conclusion: finding your tribe. Here is the beautiful truth. When you stop trying to force a square peg into a round hole, you free up your hands to find the round pegs. You get to build a chosen family, the friends who actually get your jokes, the partner who makes you feel safe,
The mentors who actually see your potential. There's a tribe out there for you. There are people who will make you feel that warm, fuzzy Hallmark movie feeling. They just might not have your last name. And that is okay. Water is thicker than blood if the water is pure and the blood is toxic. So the next time you feel that numbness, that detachment, don't judge it. Respect it. It is your intuition telling you the truth. It is telling you, this is not your home. And that's fine. because it means your real home is still out there, waiting for you to find it. Pack up your guilt, leave it at the door, and go find the people who make you feel like you. Thank you for being here. Subscribe for more.